Um, it was about a year ago. I sat down at the table across from my dad, and he began to trace his hands up my arm, up my bumpy scars, and looked at me and said, "Court, I think you should see my friend, Dr. Garber. He can work some wonders on those." My dad saw me as unhealed and marred and scarred. He saw me as broken. And if my dad saw me that way, how could anyone else see me that way? He brought up my wedding day, something I'm very far away from. And I just was in shock. And it took me back 4 years ago to another man that was a doctor, and he was trying to diagnose me. He looked at me with these half-closed eyes, very checked out from his day. He was an orthopedic surgeon, and he'd had a full day of work, and we were athletes, and he was seeing us as his clinic duty. So there had been 15 other students before me, and as I walked in the room with my trainer, I just had a bad feeling. And Dr. Laurel looked at me, and I explained the pain I was experiencing in rowing, this debilitating pain, much different from the pain that rowing is, the pain that just rips you apart from every muscle. You just feel this burning pain in your legs, deep in your legs, in your back, and in your arms, but not as much as you should feel it in your back and in your legs. So as I explained to him the knots that I felt in my arms that I couldn't massage out, like a Charlie horse, constantly aching. It's not the right term, but it's all I can describe it to you as. And he looked at me and said, "Well," as I'm sure he'd looked at many other athletes before, "I think what you're dealing with is freshman newness to a sport, to a collegiate Division I sport. You are in 20 plus hours of practice, and that is hard for anyone. And so I think in time, your body will adjust, and you'll learn to deal with that." And the same way I felt when my dad looked at me and said that to me was how I felt when this doctor told me I was confused about the pain that I felt. He was wrong. He was so wrong. And I just had a visceral reaction when he told me, and I think my mouth might have hit the floor. But the pain was different than just rowing. If you don't know what rowing is, you may be familiar with it from Olympics, or from that poster you see in every office building that says teamwork at the bottom. But that is just a glimpse of the elegance and beauty that rowing can be. And if you see it up close in the shell of the boat, where you're pulling at the oars through the water, with wind, with water splashing on your face, I remember thinking it was just water or sweat on my face, but it was tears. I was crying, and I didn't even know it. The pain, I just couldn't think, I couldn't move. So after this, my doctor and the trainers, we left the room, and they knew what I felt was real. And so we went to work. Not me, because WebMD would tell me I was going to die, no matter what I used to. So I left it up to my trainers, and they looked and looked and looked. And so in the meantime, I did every non-invasive treatment possible. Laser therapy, ultrasound, ice on and off with heat, stretching, massage therapy, even a chiropractor, just to make sure that it wasn't something in my neck shoulders that was actually in my forearms. I don't like chiropractors. I just get nervous that they're gonna snap your neck. I told him that, and he looked at me like I was a silly little puppy, like, you watch too much TV, Courtney, and he goes, and there's a ripple all the way up my spine. It's the last time I've been to a chiropractor, but it felt good, so who knows. So my trainer came to me and told me that they'd found something. This doctor at UVA, Dr. Shabra, he had had success with a rower, Fiona, and she had double lateral compartment syndrome. And as they read to me what the symptoms were, it rang too familiar. It was exactly the feelings I had had, the pain that would be there within 15 minutes of rowing, how it would not dissipate until after deep, intense massaging, and then it would come right back the next day. How not much literature is out there. How all my teammates looked at me like I was faking, and that tore me apart almost as much as the pain. So the doctor, I went to see him, and we did a pressure test, which next to the pain of this compartment syndrome that they were testing for was pretty terrible. The needle, you could see the hole that is in the needle because they were gonna insert it into the 4 compartments, not just through my skin, but into the muscle, where you hear this little pop. But it's okay because they put lidocaine and they put numbing shots in first. But it didn't mean I didn't feel the pop into my muscle. After testing the resting part of my muscle and then having me work it into agonizing pain and testing it again, they told me that my numbers were off the charts and that I had compartment syndrome. So I was set for surgery the very next day. And my doctor, he was kind, and he was a serious surgeon, and he'd had success. But he told me that it was a 50-50 chance. Not everyone's body works the same way, and there's a chance it's not going to work. There's a chance it will work. So I was ready to do anything and everything possible, and my parents were going to support me in that. So we did it. We did the surgery. I have the scars to prove it. We've done it a lot of times, a couple times. A release where they go in and cut the fascia, and your muscle billows out, finally released from this pressure that your body can't process. And so these scars remind me of the pain, so much pain, and losing my identity because it didn't work for me. And I'm still in pain constantly. Day-to-day activities, never to row again. But I'm reminded this outward mark that makes my dad feel like he's failed as a parent in decision-making, makes him know the pain I'm in every single moment. When I see it, I see more than the pain. And I remember who I am is so much more than a scar. It's so much more than a sport, than a lifestyle. I'm a Christian, and I think of my God who came back, resurrected, with wounds, not for himself. He could have come back perfectly clean as a slave, but he came back with wounds, marred for me. And I have wounds, not the same as him, not even close. But if he came back and had scars for my benefit, maybe my scars can tell my story too.